Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit. Today, we're going to be making Wolfe brand pork luncheon meat. That's right, soon to be America's new favorite luncheon meat. And contrary to what people think is in luncheon meat, the only meat you'll need is pork shoulder and ham.
So here I have a bone-in Boston butt, which is the upper portion of the pork shoulder. I'm going to cut it into steaks until I reach the bone, and then once I get to the bone, I'll just cut around the bone. If you don't want to do this much cutting and save time, you can just buy a couple packs of pork shoulder country-style ribs. Now don't throw this bone away. Save it and smoke it, and use it to flavor beans, collards, or whatever you want. Now simply cube up all the meat like you would for stew. If you'd like a printable copy of this recipe with a full list of ingredients and easy to follow directions, visit thewolfepit.com. Once all the shoulder meat is cubed up, move on to the ham and do the same thing. And by the way, don't trim any of the excess fat off the shoulder or the ham. You want every bit of that pork fat
in your Wolfe luncheon meat.
Once all the pork is cubed up, spread it out evenly onto a baking pan and place it into the freezer for 45 minutes. While the pork is chilling and firming up in the freezer, let's make a seasoned slurry. In a large bowl, combine Tender Quick, and Tender Quick is a fast cure mix that will cure the meat and distinctive pink color, along with sugar, salt, and I'm using cornstarch as a binder.
Even though other companies use potato starch, they'll both work the same.
And finally, ice cold water. Now give it a good mix until everything's dissolved. Now after the meat's been in the freezer for 45 minutes, it's ready to grind. Let's grind the ham first. And then the pork shoulder. Then once all the meat is ground, add the slurry. Then with your best mixing utensil you have in the kitchen, your hands, give it all a good mix. And if you're one of those people that's going to make an idiotic, asinine comment about me touching raw meat with my hands, go eat a piece of tofu. Now here's what it should look like when it's all thoroughly mixed. Now spread out and pack down the mixture firmly into a bread pan. Now place the smaller pans into a bigger pan and fill the bigger pan up with cold water 3/4 of the way up. Then individually double wrap the smaller pans with aluminum foil. Then place everything into a preheated 250-degree oven for 3 to 3.5 hours or until it reaches an internal temperature of 155 degrees. After 3.5 hours at 250 degrees, here's what it'll look like. But it's not ready to eat yet. Now rewrap it again with a double layer of aluminum foil. And then place something heavy and flat on top to press the meat down. I'm just using a brick. Then let the meat thoroughly cool down and then place into the refrigerator overnight.
Now here's the Wolfe luncheon meat the following day
after sitting in the fridge for approximately 16 hours with the brick on top. Now run a butter knife along the edges to loosen everything up so it pops right out.
Now here comes the much anticipated Wolfe loaf.
And the very first thing I noticed when it came out of the loaf pan was that beautiful natural clear gelatin on the outside. I haven't seen that beautiful and delicious gelatin
in canned luncheon meat or Vienna sausages in years.
That leads me to believe that the pork they're using in
canned luncheon meats
and Vienna sausages is leaner today than it was 30-40 years ago. Either the pork they're using nowadays is leaner or they're not adding as much fat. Because when I was a kid and you opened up a can of
luncheon meat
or Vienna sausages, there was quite a bit of the gelatin in there, which was my favorite part. Now Duke says, let's roll this beautiful
luncheon meat footage.
Sorry guys, you're going to have to pardon Duke. He's getting old and confused.
Now slice the Wolfe as thick or as thin as you like. The gelatin is making the Wolfe very slippery and it's slipping and sliding all over the cutting board. Normally when you slice canned luncheon meat, it's at room temperature and easy to slice. But this Wolfe luncheon meat is ice cold, which makes it more difficult to cut.
Now let's cut a couple pieces and give it a try. To me, it looks, smells, feels, and tastes
just like canned luncheon meat. Well, it's actually better than the canned crap.
I don't know. You'll have to try it and judge for yourself. Now, you really didn't think I was going to do this video without frying a few pieces of
Wolf, did you?
That's the ultimate test. I'm just going to place a few pieces in a dry skillet over medium heat for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. It's also getting that nice crispy crust. This homemade
luncheon loaf
turned out 1,000 times better than I expected it to, especially on the first try. It could not have turned out any better. But don't take my word for it. Make it yourself, give it a try, and judge for yourself. As always, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you give this a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.